Well, thank you for joining me, Dr. Jason W. Morrison, Theologist, New South Wales, Australia. I've found another video, What is Emotional Incest? It's by Katie Morton. You're welcome to subscribe to her channel if you choose to. I want to read Proverbs 11:10. Proverbs 11:10. When it goes well with the righteous, the city rejoices, and when the wicked perish, there is jubilation.
Everybody, happy Thursday. Now today's question is another good one. But before we jump into that, are you new to my channel? Welcome. I am a licensed therapist talking about all things mental health. And I release videos on Mondays and on Thursdays, so make sure you're subscribed and have those notifications turned on so that you don't miss out. Hi Katie, can you make a video about emotional incest? You know, how to recognize it, what to do, how it can feel, etc.? Of course I can. Thanks for asking. And as always, I wanted to begin by defining the term emotional incest, because just the term itself makes it sound like sexual abuse, kinda, right? But it's not sexual at all. Emotional incest is when a parent doesn't have any healthy boundary between themselves and their child. They rely on their child for emotional support and treat them like a partner instead of a child, meaning they may cry to their child about their divorce or breakup, even sharing sexually explicit details with their child, treating them like a friend or even a spouse.
Right, this one's going to be a good one. She's come out straight out of the box. The parent sets up the child like a friend, and they share all sorts of personal adult details with these children. Now, the children can be teenagers, they can be adults, but the parent is spilling out personal information with this child that they ought not to do.
And this can be a huge burden on a child, and it can make us feel pressure to, have to fix whatever's going on with our parent. In a perfect world, a child would be free to be a child and to socialize with other children. In an emotionally incestual relationship, a child often feels guilty if they leave their parent at home, or knows just how much the parent needs them, so they won't engage in after-school activities. Now, obviously, this can appear in many variations, but overall, just know that the child isn't able to form healthy and happy relationships with those around them and can be emotionally manipulated by the parent. Because think about it, if I'm so worried that my mom is going to be upset and if I don't come home, or she's so sad when I'm not there, she's so lonely, that I don't do any after school stuff. I don't play any sports that I like. I don't try out for that play I've really been wanting to, or try to get into that band because the practices are after school. If we restrict ourselves as a child that way, we're being manipulated, right? Our behavior.
Now, make no mistake, the mother is manipulated as well by the child. The child learns what the mother teaches. The child does what the mother shows. So the mother's manipulating the child's manipulating the mother, and it's just a toxic carousel ride.
Behaviors aren't of our own volition. They're controlled by the parent. And children should be free to do what they want. They should be able to participate in after-school activities or school activities. Some parents who are emotionally incestual with their children will often try to homeschool them just so they have more control and have them around more. Now, I could go on and on about this topic because I find it so fascinating and also so important for us to talk about so that it doesn't keep happening to us or those around us. But let's get into the questions itself.
Now, she shows some very serious concern in the sense that she doesn't want this to keep happening to people in any way whatsoever. Covert emotional incest, you will need therapy if you ever get tied up in it. Not as the people that are in it, but if you're in a partnership with, say, the mother or the son or whatever, you're going to come away and you're going to need therapy. Let's see what else she can tell us about covert emotional incest.
This person asked how to recognize emotional incest. Now, if your parent is sharing things that as a child you shouldn't know, that's your first red flag. Now, I know that may be hard for you to recognize. That seems kind of broad, but ask your friends. That's a way to test it. Ask the people that you see at school and see what their parents share with them. Also, notice if you're allowed to have friends or if you're made to feel guilty when you would rather spend time with them. Because it's normal for children to want to see their friends over their parents, especially when we're teenagers. It's part of that boundary pushing developmental stage that we're at. So it's very normal for us to be like, no, Mom, I don't want to go with you to that thing. I'm going to go out with my friends. That's just kind of part of how it is and how it should be. And a healthy parental relationship will involve discipline, where you may get grounded or you might be forced to spend time with family, like it's a birthday dinner for your sister, or, you have like a family reunion or something like that. That's all normal. But other than that, you should feel free to socialize after school and on weekends with friends. I mean, as long as your homework's done and you've done your chores, you should be able to go. It shouldn't be an always no thing or, sure, leave me, woo, and they cry. That's part of the manipulation that I want you to just be aware of. Another sign is if you feel responsible for your parents' emotional struggle, meaning you feel you have to fix it or work something out for them.
This is a very important one because what I found is the adult child, the male towards his mother, they go so deep into the mother's business that they begin to interfere with the mother's relationship with the partner. They'll intercept dates, they'll pass off their opinions, they'll undermine, they'll defame, they'll attack the mother for having a partner, they'll scream negligence, they'll play up, they'll demand the mother to do things. I mean, it is embarrassing. I've seen mothers be humiliated by grown men because they've stuck their nose, they've come in too far through covert emotional incest via the mother's enablement, and now we have all sorts of stuff that needs to be unraveled.
This is not the role of a child, okay? Unless you need to apologize for something that you did, because we can all hurt people's feelings and do things that are wrong. But other than that, you're not responsible for the emotional well-being of your parent. That's the role of their therapist, spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, or even more importantly, themselves.
I said this to the last two women that I got involved with that had covert emotional incest working in their family dynamic, that they needed to stop being the therapist and to get therapy for their children, their sons. One did, that I know of. The other one said she was in the motions of that. I didn't hang around long enough to find out. I hope she did. I hope the boy did, for his benefit. But when the mother becomes the therapist and she thinks that she's the professional form of fixing, and really it's just feeding and enabling and reproducing covert emotional incest and its tendencies, you need a miracle. You need someone to step in and say, no, hang on a sec, which I did. I said, hang on a sec. Not wanting to interfere with you being a mother, made all that clear, would never dare to do that to you. You're a good mother, he's a good boy, but you need to get him a therapist. I've been around long enough, I can see what's happening here. I don't want to upset you, but you need to hand this over. I mean, when the behaviour deteriorates to the level that I saw, it was time for this lady to hand her son over to the professionals. Otherwise, it was just an exhibition of toxic dysfunction in the form of emotional incest.
We are all responsible for ourselves and our own emotional well-being. We can't lean completely on other people, especially not our children. Our children should be free to develop their own emotional awareness and connectivity with other kids and other people in their lives, and we should be there to support and guide and love them. Now, the next portion of the question is about how it can feel. And to be honest, it can feel odd or really uncomfortable at first. And then
when you're in an environment and covert emotional incest is manifesting between the mother, son, father, daughter, whatever the case is, you'll sit there at first and you'll go, what? And you'll go, something's not right with the way these people are interacting. And you'll question yourself the first couple of times, and then you'll get to the point where you go, have I got an issue with the whatever? Excuse me. But it'll be your spirit picking up on the covert emotional incest. It'll be your senses picking up on the covert emotional incest. And that's when the trouble starts for you. Because now you're aware that something's not right. Something needs to be fixed. I can't fix it. What effects is this going to have on me? Because it is going to affect you. There's no two ways about it. You are going to be traumatized by covert emotional incest if you're in that environment.
And the guilt that we may feel can be debilitating. But overall, if this has been happening since we were really, really young, we might not even notice by the time we're a teen, let's say. We might get so used to it happening that we don't even recognize it as weird anymore. But there
problem. The people that are in it don't recognize it as weird because it's their domestic formation. So when an outsider comes in and says, oh look, the relationship between you and so doesn't seem, how are they going to accept that? How are they going to receive that? They're going to receive it with offense. So you have to be very careful how you deal with it, because you're going to cause an offense.
there can still be things that a parent will share that could creep us out or make us not want to continue the conversation. Like, for example, if your mother is the one doing this to you, she may try to share how upset she is that her boyfriend broke up with her. In doing so, she can cry, she might tell you how often they had sex and then she found out he was sleeping with another person. No matter how long this emotional incest has been going on, you should still and most probably will be creeped out by this or upset at the very least. And that's why I describe emotional incest as feeling uncomfortable, yet filled with constant guilt. Now, let's finish by talking about how to heal from it. And the first thing we can do, set up boundaries. I know I talk about this a lot, and many of you don't really understand boundaries, or I know that they're very, very difficult to put in place and to uphold, but we have to learn kind of where they are. The first stage in setting up boundaries is, when do we feel uncomfortable? Is it when our parent talks about sex or talks about their romantic relationships? Maybe that's that icky, uncomfortable creep feeling that comes out when they talk about those topics. So if that's the case, those are the things that we're going to first have our boundary up about. If that parent begins to talk about it, we can say, I just don't want to hear about that. Please stop, or I'm going to have to go off with my friends. I just don't want to hear. So we're holding it up, that's not okay. We should probably say, I don't like it when you talk about XYZ, so they know what it is. And then we can offer to remove ourselves because we know that they want us there. And I know this can sound like the reverse manipulation, but we're really just like teaching them this is a boundary. If you don't adhere to it, I'm not going to talk to you, because that's the truth. That's what boundaries are for. And so as we kind of get more and more comfortable placing boundaries up around things we're okay with someone talking to us about and things we're not, the better it will get and the easier it will be, okay? And we'll start to feel a little bit of levity, maybe a little bit happier, a little better, because we have more space. And the boundaries can slowly move out. I don't want you to think you have to throw out boundaries and then that's just what it is. That's what makes them hard. That's why I think a lot of people are like, oh, I can't do that. But we can start little by little. Certain things aren't okay. I would prefer to do it this way. Just make sure we're communicating them. We're not just shutting down, telling them nope and walking away. We have to communicate like, I don't like hearing about that. It's really upsetting or it's really uncomfortable. If they try to fight you on it, that's when you can say, you know what, I'm just gonna have to walk away. I don't want to talk about this. And that's how you set up boundaries healthfully. So I have a bunch of videos about boundaries. You can just search Katie Morton boundaries if you want more, but let's move on to the next one. And my next tip is get outside support. Build up your support system outside of your parent. That might be starting to join that band you've always wanted to join at school, or starting that sport, or trying out for something, or joining that art club. anything. We need to start building up supports. It could be if we already go to church, we join the youth group. It could be if we have a really good friend, we spend more time at their house and we get to know some of their other friends and their other friend groups. We need to start branching out so that you're reminded each and every day that you're not alone, and that the parent isn't the only person in your life, nor should they be. And we need to be around other people who have more healthy interactions with their parents so that we can see what's normal. And that can also be helpful when we're setting up boundaries. We can look at it and be like, oh, their mom, oh, that's why I don't like it when my mom does that. Okay, and then we can kind of learn from it. It can be a really, really great thing to see so that we can learn from the things that are going right in their lives, at the same time, get some extra support. And number 3, see a therapist or join a group. We know when we've been in an emotionally incestual relationship, there's going to be a lot we're going to have to process through, and things we're going to have to like tell our therapist and be like, is that normal? Am I crazy? We're going to need some of that validation, some understanding.
And this is what the person, the outsider that's trying to be a partner with one of these covert emotional incestual people will need. You're going to need therapy. So listen carefully to what she's saying.
And therapy is a really, really safe place, and even group therapy, that's why I added that in there, is that those can be safe places to learn about it, process through what happened so that we can begin to heal. And my 4th tip, get out if you can. If you're still living with this parent, save your money. Get a job where you just work a couple hours a week and start saving it. See if you can stay with a friend or another family member. Please get out of that situation. You are not responsible for that parent. They are responsible for themselves. And if they can't adhere to boundaries and they won't allow for a healthy relationship to be cultivated, you have to get out so that you can heal. And my 5th and final tip, and it's not even really a tip, it's just a comment kind of, is know that it will be painful and hard, but that it will be worth it. This is totally a process, not perfection. Trying to leave a parent that has been so dependent on us can be really hard, and it can make us feel like a bad child, a bad daughter, a bad son, and we're just a bad person, but that's not what's happening. So just be patient with yourself and be understanding that the relationship that you have in that dynamic isn't healthy, and it's not okay. And if they won't work with you, which in my experience, most incestuous parents do not, but some can, right? It's never hard and fast. It's not just 100% don't. There could be a parent that would. And so at least open up into that, and then be aware that they may not be able to have a healthy relationship with you. And that can be painful. And there may be a lot of grieving that you have to do. I've talked about grief a lot and how I think that we're all grieving at different times in our lives. And this might be one of those times for you. But just keep with it. Keep reaching out. Keep speaking up. Keep trying, saving your money so you can get out, because it can and will get better. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found that helpful. As always, share in those comments down below. How are the ways that you've healed, or what signs and symptoms did you experience to let you know that that was what was going on? Please let me know.
Okay, that was pretty good, wasn't it? Proverbs 11:10. When it goes well with the righteous, the city rejoices, and with the wicked, and when the wicked perish, there is jubilation. I'll share the link to this video in the description below. This is Dr. Jason W. Morrison, Theologist, New South Wales, Australia. Thank you for joining me, and bye for now.